Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary Pettit. I am the North American Ambassador for the Global Coffee Platform, and I'd like to welcome you all to our webinar today, where we're going to celebrate the progress of the past 3 years of reporting on sustainable coffee purchases in the GCP Snapshot. While we're waiting for people to log on, I'd like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and go over a few housekeeping points that will be important for our meeting. First, let's start with the antitrust agreement. This is a special competition law policy that we adhere to for every meeting of the Global Coffee Platform. And I'd like everyone to please be sure to read this statement and be mindful that there shall be no discussion of pricing of any kind during our meeting. I'd also like you to know that the meeting is being recorded, and by virtue of your continued participation in the meeting, it means that you agree with our anti-competition policy. We will be taking questions during the meeting, and we encourage you to post them in the Q&A, and there is a Q&A session that will be later in the program, and that's when we'll be addressing the questions. And we also encourage you to update your screen name with your organization so that everyone can clearly see who you are. I would particularly like to welcome our speakers today. We're really thrilled to be joined by Mr. Ricardo Oteros from Supra Cafe, Mr. Stefan Dirks from the Melitta Group, and Mr. Marcelo Burity from Nestlé. In addition, I want to recognize my GCP team members from all over the world. From the tech side, we're being helped by Pia Prangenberg in Bonn and Clara Mathiasen, our communications manager in Johannesburg, South Africa. And presenting and discussing today will be our membership manager, Caroline Glaufke, our executive director, Annette Pencil, and myself. Today's topics are going to cover the exciting transparency and growth of sustainable coffee purchases through the GCP Snapshot report information. We'll discuss how sustainability is our shared responsibility, which is a core belief of the Global Coffee Platform. And we will also be inviting roasters, retailers, and ICO signatories to the London Declaration to join GCP Collective Reporting on 2021 purchases. So let's get started. Celebrating progress. This is a very good thing to do because we are really advancing in a new way that the sector has never seen by convening collective reporting on sustainable coffee purchases. GCP members have been investing in this over the past 2 years, and there's a lot of growth to celebrate. I'd particularly like to recognize the companies who are currently participating: JDE Peet's, Melitta, Nestlé, Strauss Coffee, Supra Cafe, and Tesco. So GC members are showing and growing their sustainable coffee purchases, and through that are helping to expand supply and demand for sustainable coffees. And we're going to see how that happens as we move through the program. I'd like to invite my colleague from Bonn, Caroline Glaufke, to talk to us about the origination of this special report, the GCP Snapshot on Sustainable Purchases. It's a great origination story and great progress to share. Caroline, I pass the mic to you.
Thank you, Mary. I see we have a quite big audience here, so I'm a bit nervous. I see quite from all over the world, different stakeholders have joined us, so that's quite exciting to celebrate this progress with us. Let's step back a moment and let's try to take the journey how this snapshot actually evolved and how did we arrive there. So it started off really in 2017 when the Sustainable Coffee Challenge partners and GCP members developed together the coffee sustainability framework with indicators. And that was a first step to make sustainability measurable and actionable. And we then in 2019 operationalized that with the coffee data standard by streamlining data, how they can, or rather the metrics, how sustainability can be measured. So in the end that data can be made comparable and the journey of sustainability, the impact can be made more visible. This then also, we took that forward with a call to action, which was a reaction to the price crisis in the sector. And we gave different recommendations to different stakeholders groups, how they could react and act on this price crisis. And one recommendation to roasters and retailers was to report on their sustainable coffee purchases, but also encouraging them to increase these volumes. With that, then GCP members supported with their contributions the development of further tools needed to come to the snapshot, which was not developing only, but also improving the baseline coffee code, the equivalence mechanism, and the reporting tool as such. Working together, then in 2020, we were able to show the first snapshot on 2018, first collective reporting, which then continued beautifully into 2021. This year, where we published the 2019 and 2020 snapshot report. Of course, we're looking and taking it forward into next year, where in 2022, we will open up the reporting on 2021, inviting and encouraging additional roasters to join. You see this arrow moving. Where is it moving to? It's helping expand supply and demand for sustainable coffees. And that, of course, is also supporting GCP's mission and vision of developing a thriving and sustainable coffee sector. So this is the journey we took. Mary, did I forget anything to mention here?
No, I think that's a great synopsis of what I would characterize as the creation story. And it also shows how many stakeholders have been engaged in moving this forward. It's really a collective labor, and it is a wonderful new expression of collective reporting.
Great, thank you. I think by now I have calmed down a little bit. And I'd like to welcome one of our guest speakers, Ricardo. It's a great pleasure to have you here. And Supra Cafe is a roaster based in Spain. Ricardo is the CEO of Supra Cafe. It's great to have you here. I'd like to ask you why from the very beginning you were ready to support this collective reporting on sustainable coffee purchases becoming very transparent.
Hello, good evening to everybody. Well, for us, we are a small and medium enterprise, and we do believe in sustainability. And for us, transparency, to try to measure what are we doing and what are we contributing to our goals is very important. We know that if we do it in a transparent way, we can improve, because this is the idea. The idea is how to improve every year, how to do new steps in our business, and how to get more and more sustainable goals. So for us, it's a very important thing to participate in this snapshot.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, that's great. Transparency is indeed one of the key things in this snapshot. Yeah, even for the reporting roasters, it needs to get adjusted to how transparent they are. I will show you a few results of this snapshot, how it advanced. So let's have a look at 2018, where roughly 639,000 metric tons were reported. This is focusing on the sustainable coffee purchases only. And then in 2019, already increasing on to 789,000, and in 2020 we had a total of 983 metric tons reported. Yes, an additional roaster came in, so that is also a reason for the increase, but not only. So you see already from 19 to 2020 there was an increase. And then where will we be next time with your additional reporting? Where we invite you to. Looking at the partners in 2018, we had JDE Peet's, Nestlé, Melitta, Strauss, and Supra Cafe. And then in 2019-20, Tesco came forward and said, we'll join in on this. And this year we are inviting all roasters and retailers to join, and especially the ICO London Declaration signatories. If you know about the ICO task force work along their roadmap, they welcomed the reporting and encourages the reporting for more transparency and monitoring on sustainable coffee purchases in this sector. So that's great. We'd like to see your logo there for this year. Looking at the increased transparency, so we started off in 2018 with a reporting on sustainable coffee purchases. This is an accumulated figure. These figures exist for all the roasters and retailers that have reported. This is, and then in 2019, we increased transparency by showing the parts on secondary and third-party schemes, so the voluntary sustainability services and schemes, sorry, and the second party ones. So that was a step forward again, all for the roasters. We find these details, and an additional feature that we added was where the sustainable coffee purchases come from combining them by regions. So we had here then from Asia Pacific, Africa, and Latin America, and Brazil and Vietnam together. So that was something how we increased the transparency. We also had in 2018 started to kick off with the schemes that you see here. Little mistake, Olam wasn't there in 2018, but let's move on, and now the picture looks correct. 2019 and 20 additional schemes were added: eComs, SMS, Olams, at source, entry verified, and at source plus, and Veritas Gold. And please be aware that Nespresso is, of course, the AAA program that they have. And then for the next reporting, we're pleased to announce also NKG. So from the Neumann Kaffeegruppe, their program Bloom is also there and can be reported on. And we already have additional schemes knocking on our door, and we hope we will find them equivalent as well. So you can see with these slides how the snapshot evolved and increased in transparencies, more schemes being allowed. It's expanding with roasters and retailers coming in and joining the reporting. Yeah, with that, I'd like to hand over back to Mary.
Thank you, Caroline.
And I think my computer is hanging a bit.
Oh, here we go. No, here we go. Okay, thank you very much,
moving
Caroline.
forward.
That's a great trajectory story that you just shared with us. And it's my great pleasure to invite Mr. Stefan Dirks from the Melitta Group to tell us a little bit about why Melitta values engaging with other roasters and retailers through reporting purchases in the GCP Snapshot as a means of helping to strengthen the sustainable coffee sector. Stefan, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mary, and also thank you for having the opportunity to be a member of today's celebration, let's say, for this new edition of the Snapshot. Well, I think the course of events in the last few months has shown once again that there is an urgent need for a joint engagement for a more sustainable coffee sector. And sustainable does mean here ready for the future. And before that background, we are supporting and actively contributing to the snapshot for two main reasons. Reason number one is that the snapshot fosters transparency in the market, and transparency is one essential precondition for trust in the market. And I am deeply convinced that we need even more trust in the market between the different actors in the sector to enable and make more easy pre-competitive collaboration, as we are conducting that in the framework of the GCP and additionally some other international frameworks like the ICO, where of course GCP and the members are doing a lot to support this process as well. So transparency fosters trust, enables and fosters pre-competitive collaboration, and pre-competitive collaboration is needed to come to the velocity and speed we need for creating a sustainable coffee sector. That's reason number one. Reason number two, from the perspective of the Melitta Group, is that we think that let's say friendly competition initiated by the snapshot motivates more and more actors to actively integrate sustainably certified coffees in their portfolios. And as Caroline already mentioned, the revision of the BCC and then consequence of the recognition methodology of the snapshot fosters even more and more sustainably grown coffee, first of all integrated in the snapshot and also of course in the market. So we have a double reason to be an active member of the snapshot, and we are looking forward of course to the third edition of the snapshot. And we will be hopefully also surprised by even more useful further developments of the snapshots, methodologies and mechanisms. Thank you very much.
Stefan, thank you very much. It's really great to hear perspectives from participants in the snapshot and to hear why people value it and how they value it. So let's continue moving in our program. Truly, sustainability is our shared responsibility, and this is one of the core beliefs and tenets of the entire global coffee platform organization. And to make this into a reality, let's look at how important GCP Collective Reporting is to every value chain member in the segment. Essentially, over the past 2 years, GCP members have been investing in instruments and foundational tools that help us collectively build supply and demand for sustainable coffees, that give us a roadmap to really flow up to the SDGs and allow all value chain members to participate and do their part to promote supply and demand for sustainable coffees. Let's look at how that works. Sustainable production is a key endeavor of coffee producers, but also connected to those who purchase their coffees. We want to benefit farmers. We want them to be prosperous. We want them to have wonderful livelihoods and careers and trajectories to continue producing the coffees we all count on. The second part of this flow concerns traders. And traders very much are important in bringing coffees to market and collaborating with producers to help them produce coffees more efficiently, sustainable coffees. And towards that, Global Coffee Platform has just revised what used to be called the Baseline Coffee Code and will be announced shortly in a wonderful webinar that we'll invite you all to. And we're naming it the Coffee Sustainability Reference Code. And this is a neutral pre-competitive code that members of the sector from all different points can engage in. And we have an equivalence mechanism where we invite sustainable sourcing schemes, whether they be voluntary or other private schemes, to work with the Coffee Sustainability Reference Code and form the foundation for collective reporting. So we have farmers, we have traders, and roasters and retailers have a key role in participating in GCP collective reporting and helping make transparent, as Ricardo and Stefan have shared, their progress and their leadership role in building awareness about sustainable coffees and sharing their commitments to increase the commerce of sustainable coffees. And eventually, of course, this gives us a wonderful foundation to help encourage consumption of sustainable coffees with consumers. There are wonderful messages that we have yet to develop and share with our consumers. And as the market evolves, what we want to do is allow people to have their own, marketing and branding activities, but also to know that we have a foundation that withstands scrutiny and encourages people to really tell the truth about sustainability and act collectively to accomplish sustainable sourcing at scale. We're in it together. That is our commitment in the Global Coffee Platform. Caroline, let's talk a little bit about how roasters and retailers who are not currently participating in GCP Snapshot reporting can join, because we want you. This is a great opportunity.
Yeah, I want to pick up on Stefan's words, which I really liked, inviting to join the friendly competition here. So, yeah, we're inviting the signatories of the ICO London Declaration, national brand roasters, private label roasters, coffee retailers to join, the process of measuring progress through the collective reporting and inspiring change here. So yeah, please join us. Hang on, I think there's, yes. So these are the last two, but I hope then, you will be joining us for the reporting on 2021.
We're building this together, and it's very important to collaborate. Our goals are to measure progress and inspire change, and none of us are on an island. So we're really thrilled that the energy and commitment over the past 2 years to build the instruments of the Coffee Sustainability Reference Code, the Coffee SR Code, the equivalence mechanism, and the GCP Snapshot on sustainable purchases are now working together to help us measure progress and inspire change.
Yeah, so please be invited. How does it work? Let me show you that in a little slide here. It's 3 easy steps. Usually we talk to the roasters, retailers, brand owners, how we get to the reporting, but the basic steps are really to sign a non-disclosure agreement, of course, with data handling. We have this non-disclosure agreement, which is signed as a first step. And then it's really getting to familiarize yourself with the reporting tool, and you can start reporting. The next one would be then on this year's sustainable coffee purchases, and we will invite to that reporting beginning of next year. But it's good to start the process right now, because usually it involves a few, clarifying a few questions on both sides. So please come forward now. If you want to talk to us, we're ready. Please yeah, contact my colleague Mary or myself to move that forward. Mary, anything else from your side?
No, except to say we would love to have a conversation with you. Never really seen anything like this in the sector. This is a very exciting new development where we're working collectively together to build sustainable sourcing at scale and to help each other meet the challenges.
Yeah.
So please reach out to us. We're here for you. We're here to serve.
Thank you. And I think maybe encouraging words and talking again. Mary, I hand over to you. Or no, it's Annette, right? Annette.
Hello, everybody. It's so great to see you all participating here. I know you can't see each other, but we're really thrilled with the participation here. We've heard quite a bit from our dear members and Mary and Caroline on the snapshot reporting. We have here Marcelo. Marcelo, would you like to share a few words and thoughts from your perspective? You've been participating in 2 iterations of the reporting already. You have actually been co-creating initially the idea a couple of years ago as part of the GCP board. So I would love to hear you sharing with the audience here how the GCP Collective Reporting helps spur demand for sustainable coffees. What is your view? What is your experience on that? And happy to hear that and share with others here.
Oh, certainly so, Annette. Can you hear me?
We can hear you very well.
All right, very good. So first of all, good afternoon to everyone. Good morning, and very happy to be here participating in the celebration of the publication of the report. My feeling is that if there is no demand for something, then it becomes very difficult for farmers to understand what is required. It's difficult for cooperatives, for traders, for exporters to help the farmers or to shape the supply chains or the value chains in a way that aligns with sustainability priorities. So my belief is that the demand for sustainable coffee is really a key driver for everything that anyone wants to build around sustainability, and to stimulate that growth in demand for sustainable coffee, transparency plays a key role. So this report, I believe it plays a very critical role in that transparency. It's not the only one. We have had other reports from NGOs and from other sources that provide these photographs of demand, but this one, I think, with its regular publication and let's say clarity of parameters and coherent reporting over time, it will not only provide a picture of the demand but a moving picture of progression. So in that way, I think it will play an important role. Taking the words of Stefan earlier as well, this sort of positive competition, it can only bring benefit for the sector, and particularly for farmers who are the ones actually on the front line of sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Marcelo, the key importance of the demand and transparency on demand, and then this comment that you made about what I call peer encouragement. Great to hear that from your perspective. Let's see, I hand over back to Mary and Caroline. We have a little bit of time for question and answers here, I believe.
Yes, we do, which is a very good thing. Everybody, please give us your questions in the chat box. We're very eager to hear them and to address them. And I think that the photo up on the screen right now is super powerful because it shows the physical effort and the dedication of the producers and workers in coffee who produce magnificent coffees that we all enjoy and want to bring to the world. We want you to know that we all welcome new partners to take part in the 2021 Sustainable Coffee Purchase Reporting, and that it's very important. It's a really exciting new thing that we're doing together in the industry. So Caroline and Annetta, as questions are coming in, I'd like to address a couple of things that might be questions that people just have generally. First thing, and I think I'll ask Caroline to answer this. Does a company need to be a GCP member to join GCP Collective Reporting through the GCP Snapshot?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you, Mary. No. So we started off the first snapshot reports encouraging and inviting our members to come forward. And this is what you have seen in the last two snapshots. But we're opening up the friendly competition. So no, you don't have to be a GCP member. But of course, we always invite you to become a GCP member as well.
Well, of course, let's also highlight Carolyn's words. This is a pre-competitive endeavor, and sometimes it's been a little difficult for us in an industry who are accustomed to competing very strongly with each other to develop and flex our pre-competitive muscle. But this is exactly what is needed to create sector change, and this is why the Global Coffee Platform has been working so hard, and the members have been working so hard and investing to create a pathway for us to create systemic change.
Mary, I see there are two questions I'd like to give to us.
Okay.
So here someone is asking, I think you're interested in participation from roasters, correct? Not so much small importers. Yeah, that's correct. We're looking at roasters here. So it's roasters, retailers, brand owners. We're inviting them to report collectively. And we have another question.
Caroline, before you go on to the next question, which is also a very important one, just a small addition to what you said on Ruth Ann's question about the importers. Of course, we need you importers as well, and we need you traders, and we need you producers as well, because this is, as Mary has said, you know, like we need the entire coffee sector to work together to get to sustainable sourcing at scale. So if you have a chance to talk to your clients and customers, why don't you share this idea with them? Even if you as an importer, you can't be asked to report, why don't you talk to your business colleagues? And by that, we can also spread the word.
To be clear, the GCP Snapshot on Sustainable Purchases is geared towards roasters and retailers. And importers play a very important role. But this particular piece of GCP Collective Reporting to encourage sustainable sourcing at scale is geared to participation from roasters and retailers. So let's see, we've got other great questions coming in. Dave Dees asks us, Dees or Days, forgive my mispronunciation. He asks us, why are the data from Vietnam and Brazil lumped? Annetta, would you like to address that?
Sure. Hi, Dave. Thanks for the question. Dave is calling in from Vietnam, and that's a very good question here. You might have seen very briefly what Caroline, what you showed on the slide in terms of step-by-step increasing the level of information, the level of transparency we can give from this aggregated reporting. Dave, the point about the regional disclosure or disaggregation of what roasters have, where roasters, our reporting roasters have been purchasing sustainable coffees from, actually gets speaks to the fact that we need to, in everything that we need to do, we need to respect the antitrust and anti-competition laws. And there was a next step felt to be possible to show disaggregated data, but we still would compile that in regional in a regional perspective. The other reason why Vietnam and Brazil was put together is to encourage more transparency and step-by-step also improvements on having increasing purchases reported from other countries than the very advanced countries and big market players, Vietnam and Brazil, also on the sustainable coffee production side. So there are two reasons attached to that, but step by step, we are in very good terms in respecting the legal boundaries. But there is also a big debate actually going on outside, even beyond the coffee sector, on how can the world, and the regulatory context also support achieving sustainable development goals, and what kind of additional transparency must be possible in the next couple of years' time without violating existing regulations.
Thank you, Annetta. Caroline, I'm going to bold a couple questions to you that are related coming in here. People are asking, when does the reporting cycle start, and what does 2021 volume actually mean? Is it a calendar year or a coffee year?
Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So as shown in one of the slides, contact us now to talk about details, your questions, and we will open up the reporting. It will be around, if I remember correctly, March, April next year. That's when the tool opens. So if you're new to reporting, then we need to set up, a user and maybe discuss a few things. So it's good to start this right now. Yes, it is the calendar year we're talking about.
Good to clarify that. And here's another important question coming from a roaster. Can I bring my own company's sustainability scheme in? Can you respond to that, Carolyn, please?
Mm-hmm. Yes and no, because we have the equivalence mechanism, and it would have to be found equivalent to the baseline coffee code, and would have to undergo the same procedure as the traders' schemes and the other schemes have gone through. So it would be treated equally, but it would have to go through that process first before it could be reported on.
Thank you, Caroline. And in the question box, Mark Furness has said he fully supports the initiative, that transparency is key to progress. Yes, it is. And he's noting that the coffee barometer is also very active in reporting, and would like to know, is this report meant to replace or to complement? Annetta, can you address that, please?
Sure, great question. Thanks, Mark. On the question actually regarding the barometer, I think, Marcelo, you have mentioned that there are a couple of other reports out there as well. We are not competing with the coffee barometer. We see the work of the GCP members with the annual collective reporting very much as a complementary action that actually brings much more details and has a very rigorous joint understanding, so a system behind to make sure that actually we are singing from the same page when we're making these comparisons as well. So that is something that we bring to the table. We have seen the barometer taking up some of the additional transparency that was already portrayed in the first ever report, so we are happy and welcoming that. While we also recognize the coffee barometer that is usually produced every 2 or 3 years by a group of NGOs, bringing additional perspectives and trying to also, point to the fact where more action and more focus is needed beyond the progress reporting on sustainable coffee purchases. So we think it's complementary, and we can learn from each other there. And hopefully we have all much more to report very soon. And this is also benefiting coffee producers. That's very much the wish of GCP and the GCP members.
The GCP Snapshot on sustainable coffee purchases is really focused on an indicator from the coffee sustainability framework, which is sustainable coffee purchases. So it's a really very special and important way to start collectively reporting against an indicator that's a common indicator, and lays the groundwork to expand to report on other indicators over time. One other question I see in the question box, which we probably will not be addressing in the scope of this presentation, but I want to acknowledge it, and it's an important question. How are we best going to shape the future structure of coffee sustainability, especially in terms of water and carbon footprint? Surendra, we thank you for that question, but I think we'll get back to you on that directly and keep the focus on the GCP Snapshot on sustainable purchases and encouraging people to sign up and participate.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. I think that was it's a good moment for us to move on. Yeah, let's talk. Please contact us if you're interested. You know, let's have an informal chat. We're ready to take it forward. With that, I think Annette.
Great, time was flying. We're almost getting to the end of our conversation here about the progress we've been celebrating and commending our members who had the courage to put their data forward in a collective reporting effort, but then also very importantly inviting more roasters and retailers to also join the effort on transparently increasing demand for sustainable coffees and being bold in the thinking about that towards sustainable sourcing at scale, which will benefit coffee producing communities all over the world. There's quite some work needed, as we have heard, but there's great enthusiasm I felt from some of the questions. So we welcome all of you, roasters and retailers, with a special invitation to join the journey here, to step up and also form part of GCP Collective Reporting going forward. And we've summarized here on this little slide in the dark greener color, the concrete next steps that Caroline and Mary have guided us through. So it's now the time to actually talk, approach us, can have an informal chat, and then you might want to sign up for the GCP Collective Reporting next round. But there is more happening in the Global Coffee Platform, and thanks actually to our members and partners that is possible. We are working on a new strategy for the organization for the next couple of years. And those of you in the webinar here today who are GCP members, you've received an invite to make your voice heard, shape the GCP strategy by participating in our online survey. If you have any questions, get back to us and we're happy to have a chat. There's also an opportunity for all of you to actually step up collective action in very concrete ways by joining the new initiative in Uganda, which is about youth for sustainable coffee. Then we've also been talking very briefly about what's coming next in the next quarter. So for the roasters and retailers who are interested in joining the reporting, more details can be exchanged. We can really make you feel very prepared for the next reporting round, including data safety clarifications and NDAs signed. So that's all lined up very well. We will do our launch of the new coffee sustainability reference code. Somebody has asked in the chat if that is already available. Actually, we are working on the publication of the new coffee sustainability reference code, which will also then bring the sustainable coffee purchase reporting forward to the next level. So we're very excited about that. And those of you who are members of the Global Coffee Platform, we really look forward to seeing you end of the year in our member assembly. A quick sneak preview onto what's coming next year. Of course, there is where then the figures hit the system with your 2021 purchase volumes being collected. And we are also going to be happy to announce our new strategy for the next couple of years to actually bring the good work that our members and partners in countries are doing forward in a measurable and inspiring progress for change towards our mission. I thank you very much, all of you who have been participating today. We look forward to welcoming more roasters and retailers to join the GCP reporting on sustainable coffee purchases. and to take it forward together. Thank you and have a great remaining day.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for being with us.